you when you haul gravel.
Hey, boss, we gotta start.
There you go. Okay, guys. Call meeting over. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the last minutes.
I make a motion to approve the approval of the last minutes.
Miller makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim Vanderhorst. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Everybody gotta take a look at it. The time slots, I wanna try to move the miscellaneous ahead of things so that we can, respect Josh because he has to leave. It's probably gonna hurt some
Well,
guys.
hearing no additions, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Motion made by Gardner,
I'll second.
second by Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old and unfinished business, Hall Road agreement discussion. An update on sheriff's office. Anything to that?
I guess the only thing would just be that, does your letter of support, Joe, that got sent to all the commissioners?
Yeah.
So everybody read Joe's letter of support?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You
Anything
know
else?
what, I made it very clear at the last meeting on camera that I wanted feedback about the sheriff's office. I got 0 phone calls. I got stopped nowhere in town. I got nothing. I got the same letter the rest of you got, so I guess I got one person in support. I think we thought long and hard about this. I know my one thing is, and not that I don't trust the sheriff's office or you, Gary, I would like some type of oversight or accountability or, rather than just writing a blank check, and I don't know exactly how to do that. And I also feel like I don't expect 2 guys to cover for 5, for whatever, 3, 5, 6 months for nothing. I don't. I don't know the answer to the oversight idea exactly, but, like I said, I don't expect guys to do 3, 8, 5, whatever, people's work, 2 of them, without some type of
Compensation.
Yeah. regardless of past compensation or whatever else. I just don't expect it to be done for nothing. My opinion.
I got close to 5 calls on the subject. And they were all, I guess, negative, we'll say. And I would agree with James that there has to be a record of work done, not just it's not a blank check by any means, but compensation for the work done, agreed upon.
I mean, the only thing, I'll say, I think Sheriff Sanders' proposal was intended to try and be budget friendly though, too. The numbers that he's requesting, at least in the short term, until we start filling some of these positions, is in alignment with the budget versus just say, paying overtime or, and I would imagine with the level of, employees that we have right now, that even paying overtime probably won't bust the budget, but his amount is a lot more predictable, which falls in line with the budget, which in my opinion is more of a protection to the taxpayers than, let's say, having some kind of tracking system. Because if all of a sudden you find out that those hours are getting tracked way higher than we even expect, now you could have an issue with the budget, or let's say you hire some positions earlier, and then now all of a sudden you're trying to allocate funds to hire people, but you've already burned through them with more than expected costs. Where his is actually a lot more predictable and in line with the budget, where if we do hire those people, the numbers are already allocated for. So that's the only reason I would defend that his request is probably actually more reasonable than some sort of tracking scenario.
I would say being fair to Chris, deputy, that as a, what's that word,
Non-exempt.
non-exempt employee, he should be getting his overtime pay.
And he will be.
We would be shorting him if we were just to split that.
Well, and maybe with the oversight or a way of tracking or these numbers, at the end of this, we can look at the budget, or Gary can look at the budget, and he can, you know, we can decide, maybe we wanna give a bonus at the end, or, you know what I mean? I don't disagree with Commissioner Magrum that, Sheriff Sanders' initial, proposal probably is substantially cheaper than paying overtime, substantially.
Right.
I mean, depending on calls and what happens and how long this goes, overtime could be 5, 10, 20 times what he's proposing, to be honest with you. I mean, it really could be, depending on emergencies and whatever else. So I think he's being fair about that, in a way that, probably makes the most sense, like Commissioner Magrum said, to his budget. And, doesn't short everybody in the department. I mean, cause like I said, I doubt any of us are gonna work 6 months or 5 months or 4 months, double, triple time for nothing.
Well, the only other concern I have with going a different way is I'm not against accountability, but I'll advocate for the fact that I trust the sheriff's department, so do we have absolutely defined, clear-cut ways of tracking this extra time then? As far as like, are you getting paid when you're still on call then? Because this is kind of an extenuating circumstance. And now if you're gonna change that on-call protocol, does that carry over to things like the road department then? Or, I feel like Sheriff Sanders' proposal is just, they're short of hands, they have budgeted money, they're splitting the money so that at least they feel like they're getting compensated for the additional work they're doing. And there isn't a massive like, either reconstruction or rechanging of policy. And I'm not ironclad on the policy, so maybe there is pretty clear cut stuff. But is this a circumstance that falls under what our policy already is? Or by creating this overtime for, you know, elected officials who don't qualify for overtime normally, now does that change for them versus the other employee? Like, do they just become non-exempt? Or is it extenuating circumstances policy? Like, those are the questions that, if you really think about it, Sheriff Sanders' proposal just kind of cuts through that. You're splitting up a salary, he's happy with it, and they're happy with it enough to at least move forward, and then we get through that process. And I think the fair thing to do is to probably, I mean, you could accept Sheriff Sanders' proposal and still have them track their time and evaluate it month to month, and maybe there is a scenario where they're getting grossly undercompensated by doing that, and you wanna re-evolve. I don't think we make a decision today and then we just don't talk about it until we hire 4 more deputies. I think it probably should be a month-to-month evaluation, and we could go the other way, and we could just say, yeah, we're just gonna start paying everybody overtime, you track all your time, whatever, and we evaluated it a month ago, oh my god, like, but then if you do that, then, you know, where does it go from there too? So, I just feel like when you have a proposal presented by the people that are most affected by it, and they're okay with it, and it's not a huge change to your policy and your scenarios, it's probably the easier path, understanding that it's like, not long term. Like, if this was a total change to the department, I think it probably needs to get evaluated more. We're hopeful that in the next handful of months this gets sorted out.
Well, and he does have you had a proposal out there, and I assume they accepted it?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, I mean-
I've spoken in depth with Chris about this, and the proposal that I proposed to the county here is 40% less than paying overtime per month,
Based on what?
based on time and a half. If you pay out time and a half, and what I project is gonna be our time spent each month, my proposal is 40% less.
Those are projections, your numbers that you work off of that 40% to create.
Right.
So it's just a projection. I feel more comfortable you accounting for your hours submitted to us at the end of this disaster that you're supposedly dealing with. Being you're a salaried employee, you got a big longevity in 2025 coming into 2026. There was a, bonus retention that was divvied out amongst you, your deputy, and your secretary of 5639 to each one of you. And also now another $3,000 per month.
Well, that bonus was from the state of North Dakota.
Correct, I'm aware of that.
Wasn't local funding, and it was a requirement and with a deadline that money had to be used, and it could only be used for certain things. And that is retention and retention only.
And what are the certain things, if I can ask, Gary, just to make it clear, that you can use it for?
Retention and education. That is it. That's it. That was the same grant they issued 2 years ago. Absolute grant.
Yeah.
That one was a little bit different with 3 purposes behind it. Retention, hiring bonuses, and education. You could spend it on secondary education, university systems, and things like that. You want to pursue an associate's degree or bachelor's degree, you could use it for that purpose. This round, they limited that to strictly retention and education, no hiring bonuses. Pretty straightforward. And then there's an end date on that money had to be spent by a certain date. And we've been banking on that. We've got this at the end of the last legislative session, and it's been sitting in just a fund. But I can't use it for hiring bonuses. I can't use it for anything else other than those 2 purposes. That's it. That's mandated by legislation.
I just feel, this is only my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. I see the other departments, people that are on salary, and if they got a couple employees that end up taking sick, and they're out for a month, 2 months, 3 months, the department head, more than likely, if he can't get anybody hired to cover that, he's gotta step up and do what these guys are doing, and they're putting in overtime and not being reimbursed.
That's the obligation of any department, whether you're elected or you're appointed. That's the obligation of it, right? Okay, and we all accept that. This situation is a little bit different in the fact that for 32 years, I've been putting in extra hours without compensation. Okay, and I don't have a problem with that. This situation is different. I'm down 3 out of 4 deputies. Okay, and I don't have any options on the table right now to even fill those positions. Okay, so we're talking short term here. We're looking at not only in addition to the 10 to 15 hours every weekly that I put in, I'm gonna add another 20 to 25 per week on top of that, just to make sure that we have the critical response for this type of work that we do. Our job is much, much different than so many other departments in the county. We're emergency responders. You can't just tell the fire department and the ambulance group, don't respond. We have that same responsibility. We have an obligation, we have to respond. Okay, we provide that critical service to the county. Okay, we had a drowning this last week. We tell them, can't show up, can't be there? No, you've got to be there. Okay, I've had staff for the last 2 weeks putting in 16-hour shifts. There's no compensation for it. Okay? And this is trying to keep that morale up there. Our job description is much, much different than pushing paper Monday through Friday. We provide a service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hell or high water, rain, sleet, or snow, it don't make any difference. We still have that job to do. When somebody calls at 2 in the morning, we're expected to respond. That's the difference between what goes on in my office on a day-to-day basis versus some of the other offices. The road department is different than so many other departments in the county. Okay? And ours is different than theirs. And theirs is different than ours. So to compare somebody else in the courthouse that works Monday through Friday pushing paper, and if it don't get pushed on Friday, we'll wait till Monday to push that paper. That doesn't happen here. We gotta respond now. We've been dealing with burglaries and thefts. You know, we've got, you know, a good break on these thefts, the copper wire stuff going on right now. Hope to wrap that up in the near future. We just can't put that on the back burner and not work that stuff. That stuff still goes on every day. And then every day the phone is still ringing and you got other problems to assess and to deal with. It doesn't stop simply at 5 o'clock or on Saturday and Sunday and pick up Monday. It's all the time. Every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My proposal, and I am not against tracking hours. I have no problems with that whatsoever. My proposal is 40% less than paying time and a half. And I've got the money budgeted for it. It's not, there's no funding requirements for it, nothing like that. It's just a simpler way of cutting to the chase to make this happen. If you wanna track the hours, I have no problem, I have no objection to tracking hours. But what are you gonna do when they're more than what I'm already predicting?
Go ahead.
Marlis, when does like the pay period end and beginning for like a month, like for like the monthly salaries and everything? When's kind of like the cutoff line for, like, let's say your hours for March, when are you gonna
We
do?
do salaries for the whole month, there is no cutoff.
Right, but you have to have like a cut, like, is it the last day of the month? Is it like like, when is your, like,
Usually the 26th is when we do the payroll,
okay,
but it's for the whole month and when you're salary.
right, I understand that, but so like the 26th is kind of like, that's where things start categorizing into the next month and carrying, okay. I mean, I just, for the sake of time and discussion and everything, I'm prepared to make a motion. And I would say that motion is that we accept Sheriff Sanders' proposal with a sunset of, in my mind, be April 27th. And with that, so that would be the motion and the explanation of it. We could go into discussion, I guess, but I would make the motion to accept Sheriff Sanders' proposal with a sunset of April 27th, and I will explain my reasoning in discussion. If there's a
Okay.
second.
If there's a second, is there a second to Aaron's motion?
I'll second Aaron's motion.
Seconded by Mr. Garten.
Okay, so my reasoning is this, we do have the budgeted funds.
Yep.
Okay? We're all at least in a rough agreement that there needs to be some kind of compensation change to adapt to this situation until it gets remedied. I think, not necessarily agreeing how it should be done, but we're probably all in agreement, something maybe should be different. Why don't we try it for 2 months? We can reevaluate it already at the April meeting, but we don't have to make a decision that day, like, we could carry through a sunset, let's try it for March and April. I think we should have the sheriff's department track those hours and compare it against this proposal. And I think we should reevaluate it, and by the end of April, we're gonna have a pretty good idea where we're gonna stand with this. By then, he's also maybe gonna have some hiring scenarios, maybe he's got people coming in. You know, there's no guarantee that the people he hires are gonna stay, or they might wash out, or, you know, so there's no guarantee, oh, he's got somebody, well, they might not be here a week later. I think it gives us a window where we're at least meeting in the middle, while we're still evaluating what's gonna happen. Because otherwise, it's just gonna keep being on the old and unfinished business, and I don't think that's fair to the sheriff's department either. We need to make a decision, we're either not gonna do anything, or we're gonna do something. This at least builds a bridge until the end of April. And then I like the idea of doing it that way, so that way, if we don't come to a decision at the April meeting, then at least it's still carrying through. Not like, well, we gotta make a decision today, or his pay's gonna change, like, let's carry it through till like, is April 27th a fair way to do it then, Mark? Cause at least it doesn't screw up payroll if we are gonna do a change one way or the other. Is that at least a reasonable proposal to at least get you somewhere while we're still?
Yeah, I have no objections.
Okay, I mean, that's
The
my.
27th, I don't know, does that work? Probably,
Well, the April salary will be done already then, you know?
yeah, but we won't have our hours though. Well, we would track the hours to the end of April, you guys would.
Right, but you would have your March hours basically, and then at the April meeting, we discuss your March hours. And then basically in May is when we'd have to reevaluate if we wanna continue it, and you'd have your April hours, so you'd have March.
Go ahead, by the 27th of April, pretty good idea what your hours are gonna be for April.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and then the May meeting would be May fifth, so then by then you'd have your March hours and your April hours, you'd have
Right.
2 months to compare, if it's like, well, 1 month is way bigger than the other, well, if they're both consistent, then we have a way to make a decision moving forward from there. And then we can, at least we can keep the discussion going, well, at least we made some kind of a change, and his proposal does not really affect the budget, so we can still move forward with that, with them getting some kind of compensation, and if it doesn't work out, by the May meeting, we better have a decent proposal or something. And that's the reason for my motion.
Okay,
I wanna add something too.
go ahead.
When Sheriff Sanders was talking, you know, that their department's different, it made me start thinking a little bit, how many applications, Russ, do you have sitting there, people that wanna get hired on the county? Do you have a pool of applicants?
I have a few.
A few.
Yeah.
Last time we had 2 openings, how many applicants did you have at court of? Huh?
3.
What about before that? You have 20
20-some.
some? And the difference here is you can walk right off the street with 0 training and get on-the-job training. You can't do that in the sheriff's office. You need a peace officer's license. You need to go to an academy for 12 weeks
Yeah, 12, 13 weeks.
and not wash out on that. Not quit after that or quit prior to it, because believe me, we need to remember here, I think New York City's down, what, 3,000 officers? New York City. The problem is nobody's kicking the door down to get spit at or rocks thrown at you, or, I mean, and it's different here. We're Emmons County. We're not disrespectful to law enforcement, but it's coming everywhere in the whole United States. Nobody wants to be a cop because you get cracked on. So we have to understand that he's in a really sticky situation. If we open up a job at the county for a transportation guy, we're probably gonna find somebody fairly quick. I mean, even if he's not the greatest operator in the world, or he's questionable guys with a badge are really scary.
Well, out of the last round of applicants, I watched 3 out of 5 out for background issues. I couldn't accept it. There's the background part of it, so.
Is your old deputy coming back? John
Which,
Bartlett?
comes,
Is he coming
running
back
for
on board?
sheriff, you know, that remains to be seen through the election process, but he's filled out a petition for the position, yes.
Okay. I thought maybe he'd come in earlier.
And he's still working for the Irish Patrol,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Well, I'm not real comfortable bartering with the sheriff department. It seems kinda trivial to me, but I don't know. I'm glad we reached some kind of agreement here, so.
Yeah, I don't object to tracking hours. My proposal was just very simple, it was 40% less cost, more effective. Everybody was, as far as, Chris and I were in agreement to it, but if tracking the hours, I don't object to that.
Well, I think it'll be good for us because we're probably gonna see that you're actually a bargain at your proposal, that you two may be a heck of a bargain for the county, because the hours are probably gonna be substantially higher than what you figured at 40% or what you're thinking. And I think
Well,
that's only gonna help the cause.
and it's that time of year, the days are getting longer,
Yep.
weather's getting nicer, and things are getting more active, it just comes every year like that, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Discussion, any more discussion? If not, you wanna do a roll call? Roll call, do a roll call vote. Gardner,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Vanderverst,
Aye.
Mager,
Aye.
Materi, Nay. Motion carried.
Thank you.
We wanna go down, let's see, why don't we do our miscellaneous and get that out of the way, are you guys okay with it out
Well, I
there?
think
Mr. Chairman, I
We
have
kinda have-
enough from
Do what?
Network Connie's on the phone.
Oh, they are on the phone,
She's on my cell phone here,
okay.
and I think somebody just called here.
We gotta talk about the highway.
behind buttons.
Linda, go ahead, but I didn't call it now.
Pardon?
You do that.
Yeah, Kenny tried to call.
Yeah, have him call again, or we'll take his call now.
Before that rings, are we haul road agreement, have you been thinking about that since it's old business? We talked about it last month.
As far as.
I got it on
You
speaker.
got it on speaker, good
Talking
morning.
with these guys.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Good, is this Linda?
This is Linda McCollum.
Hi.
Brady did try to call in that other number.
That's why I was ringing.
He said it's not
Okay.
there.
Okay,
I know he has another meeting at 7:30 that he said he can't miss, so,
okay.
but I will be here.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just read what we got here. We got a building permit and conditional use permit for Linda McClung. Network Conics authorized agent for Intermountain Infrastructure Group LLC to install new fenced gravel compound expansion, new prefabricated equipment shelters, new generators, new CT rated meter with test switch, and a 600 amp fuse disconnect. New CT rated meter with test switch and 400A fuse disconnect. New conduit and conductors for power to factory installed ATS and panels and shelters. Just hit the green button, Mark.
Yeah.
Good morning. Okay, how do I put on the speaker?
Should be a
Yeah, Brady, this is
microphone
good.
button. Should be a microphone button you can hit.
Wait,
Towards the, right on
To your
the
left.
bottom of there.
To your left.
this guy. Brady,
Yeah, it's on speaker now.
do you hear us, Brady? Yeah, Linda just called in also, we just went over the permit.
You got questions for me, Dave?
I don't know, do any of the board members have questions for you?
I believe the zoning board, motioned to approve,
Approve it, correct?
recommended to approve, is that the proper term?
And I think it was a unanimous decision.
It was unanimous.
Yes.
Okay. And it was at what, $11,500 permit fee?
19.5.
19.5, okay.
$600,000 project, 650.
Do you have anything more to say, Brady?
No, nothing to add.
Nothing to add, Linda, to you?
No, I'm good.
Anybody, anything else?
I'd make a motion to approve the building permit, conditional use permits for infrastructure group.
Okay, there's a motion to accept by Mr. Gardner,
I'll second it.
second by Jim Vanderhorst.
I guess the only question would be,
Discussion.
we don't have any issues through the application process, they paid the proper fees and
They're gonna, yeah,
right.
The money's in hand or no?
not yet.
Yeah,
They
30
said they were
days.
gonna be mailing it.
Right, but I mean, as far, the application was filled out completely and that process was all vetted?
Yes.
I don't think we'll do a public hearing without the application fee and the application filled out properly.
Okay, so the assumption is, since you had a public hearing, that everything was okay with the application process and all that,
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Everything's fine.
The fee is understood and the total cost of the estimated cost of the project, so,
Timeline,
okay. Well, I just wanna make sure that, not that we missed something with that, so. Okay,
Okay,
Well, I would say,
go ahead,
if,
Phil.
if this isn't paid within 30 days, the permit is null and void.
but I believe that's on the permit.
Is that on the permit?
If you,
Yeah, I think so.
With the deadline date spelled out?
I think if you don't follow the permit schedule, then yeah, the commissioners
It's
can
not
revoke the
void,
permit,
right.
so, I mean, that would be, they
Did you
do,
hear that, Brady?
Yeah, it's been processed, we've been in talks with Merrill, so it's all in the process. We
Okay,
just got the fee last week, guys. We'll get the money to you as soon as possible.
right, I mean, the question was just everybody understands the fee
Yeah.
schedule, right? That was just another part of it,
It
like,
says that the remaining balance
yeah,
shall be due no later than 30 days prior to the start of construction.
okay, so that, as long as everybody
So
understands.
they owe 75% within 30 days of approval, and the other 25% within
Upon.
30 days of construction, beginning of construction. That's because they don't need public service commission
Yeah,
approval, so.
okay. Did you hear that, Brady?
Yes, that's what we understood. And it's a payment process. We just got an understanding of the fee last week, Dan, so you're gonna get paid. It's been way too much, too long coming, so we're gonna get you paid.
Okay, sounds good. We just had a motion and a second We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Gardner,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Vanderwerf,
Aye.
Magrum,
Aye.
Materi, aye. Motion carried. The application is accepted, Brady. Well, thank you for doing business with us. And we wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Bye. This is your phone.
My only reason for bringing that up is just because it is a new process, so just make sure
Well,
everybody's
yeah.
on the same page, understanding that there is a fee schedule. I mean, I'm sure they were aware of it, but just for the sake of discussion.
Well,
we gotta make sure
yeah,
that we're-
that did come up, the fee schedule, and Marla said without the 750 and the proper application, we wouldn't even have a public hearing, so.
Okay, yeah, so basically for the future reference, once the public hearing is scheduled and you guys conduct it, the assumption is that up to that point, the application process is complete. It's
Yep.
followed, and that's fine, that's,
Yep.
okay.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay. Item B, which is a conditional use permit and building permit for Cavendish Farms, Inc. Troy Hanson to construct a new potato storage site consisting of 2 buildings and a permanent truck scale and scale houses. Each building will consist of 2 5-million-pound storage bins and a fan house. Storage buildings and septic system are located on the southeast quarter of section 26, township 132, range 77. And the truck scale and scale house are located on the southwest quarter of section 26, township 132, range 77. Is Troy in here or no?
No.
No?
No.
And you guys took care of that, so the permit is all drawn up, everything's parked?
Yep.
There was, a little bit of conversation in the crowd. The biggest thing, was one of the landowners in that area was mentioning that the route that they wanna use, the last mile and a quarter to Highway 83 was in pretty rough shape and probably could use gravel, and I think Russ and Commissioner Miller have talked about the fact that they need a culvert, we need a culvert at some location.
Yes.
Right there with a shell location, right?
Right.
They agreed to take care of their quarter line, their mile and quarter line is
That goes
there,
north.
that they're already maintaining basically.
They're gonna build it up at their own expense, we have
Yes.
nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. And maintain it too.
Okay,
And I think this one was a due pass.
Yes, with Emmons.
Unanimous, yeah,
Right.
both of them, the building permits and the conditional use, so.
do you have any input on it, Russ, anything at all?
No, everything seems to, I mean, I talked to him a few times, everything seems to be legit, except for the fact that we gotta fix the road going east and west there. And that's part of the reason that John's here today again, so everything as of now is in place, you know, we just have to figure out the final plans, I guess.
Just one thing I will add, in their testimony, they have had those fields for quite some time now. And they've been using these roads to haul the product out. And it's gonna go from a 2-week window to a 10-month window. So that's gonna spread the traffic out quite a bit, ease the traffic on the road, ease the beating up of the roads too.
I think it's gonna help a lot with that location versus everything going out to a location and then coming back in.
And they were receptive to, kind of a haul road agreement, with, talking about like, taking a day off if we get rain.
Right.
They were okay with that?
Well, their thing is, that they kinda said when Cavendish needs potatoes, they gotta haul potatoes, but they said, not having to haul all of them, what did they say, they're 60-some% short of storage here, and this will drop them down to like 14%, they'll still be a little short, so they will still haul some off the field straight to Cavendish and Jamestown, but this will give them the opportunity to spread that out throughout 10, 11 months. And they were receptive to the idea of us restricting, and Jody's thing was, some of these guys that haul are contractors, he said, we try our best, our guys will listen to us when we tell them don't haul, he said, but we do have some guys that'll move product even though, but they were very receptive to pretty much every suggestion
Yes.
everybody on the board had, and
Yes.
willing to, I mean, they're a good company and they wanna deal with us, you know, I mean, the companies that show up and they have no issues with the right decisions for the county seem to be the companies that I think we definitely wanna do business with, and these guys are one of them, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I think the big thing that I took away from all of it is it seems like it actually creates a little more predictability with their harvest for them and for the county. Cause all the potatoes were going somewhere. They've been growing potatoes the whole time, so the theory of like increased traffic, really, it should either maintain or decrease the traffic.
Yep.
And 84th has needed to get fixed up, whether they put a potato bin site there or not. This just gives us a little more initiative, a little more momentum, just be like, you know what, that really does need to get fixed, you know, and I think Cavendish has expressed, you know, at least the willingness to try and help out wherever they can, like the, you know, and so I think it'd be a good partnership to fix that piece of road too, which will benefit the landowners around it, and like you said, instead of hauling every potato out over a 2 to 3 week period, now it's gonna be happening over the course of almost a year. It can't do anything but improve the roads, I would think. I don't think it's gonna do any more damage than was already getting done, so I think it's a net positive for everything when it comes to the road system and all that, and so.
That culvert that has to be replaced is a box culvert, I drove out and looked at that.
Yep.
Does that have to be replaced with a box culvert?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And there isn't really, go ahead,
I think we can put a regular.
big round culvert in there, okay. Cause that isn't be that big of a watershed area from what I see, is it? Looking at the topography maps,
No, you can get some water down through there.
well, there's something
They
goes
have.
through, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With that said, I would make a motion to accept the conditional use permit and building permit from Cavendish Farms Incorporated.
Okay, is there a second to Mr. Gartner? Second by Miller. We'll just do it, want to do a roll call, all in favor, Gartner,
Aye.
Miller,
Alright.
Vandermoos,
Alright,
Magrum,
I'm going to abstain due to a conflict of interest.
okay, but Terry, aye. Nays? Motion carried on item B with Cavendish Farms.
May I ask one question on that? Do you have a contact number for that Mr. Jeff Hansen, I believe you said?
Troy Hanson,
sure.
Marlis does.
I do.
Okay, I will get that.
Get it from her, not over, yeah.
I'll get it from you later. They need some information from the FAA.
Oh, okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you,
Thanks,
Roger.
Roger.
Item C, Russ Lawler Soup, County Road Department, do you wanna, are you okay, do you wanna, can we run across the miscellaneous? Are you okay with it? Let's get the miscellaneous out of the way for Josh. Item 1 is an annual management program for Langley Bay. That's just with who, Sam?
Yeah, that's with them, they stay with us. Well,
If you guys wanna start with it, take a look at it.
we just have to put a plan together every year and what we're gonna do out there. How we're gonna just maintain.
What are we gonna do out there this year with no water?
Yeah.
Well, it gets easier when there's no water.
It's easier when there's no
There's
water.
nobody out
Unless you
there.
camp out there.
Well, but I mean, just the past experience with all that, basically, it's just gonna be an agreement over who puts the dock in and takes it out. You know, who cleans the restrooms out, which usually that stuff is ours, so, you know, that's why we hire Sam Rensler for that stuff. And then, usually either the Game and Fish or the Corps of Engineers, most of the Corps of Engineers is this agreement with, and that's just because it's their property. They do like major upgrades, like to the dock and stuff, but the basic maintenance falls on us.
The road is ours.
That's the agreement, yeah, but the road is ours too. Historically, there's been money put to that though, if, you know, if there's like a major, like a
Okay.
chip seal, usually the Corps of Engineers, Game and Fish,
Steps.
those, but they'll help out, they'll pay for a portion, that's always how it's been before, but like the tarring, the mowing of the ditches, that's us, that's our, it's kinda similar to like Rice Lake and them other ones, they kinda build it, and then we get to maintain it, then if there's a major deal, then they participate.
We still got that deal with that wellhead, did we not? That we share with.
Was that an
someone out
annual
there?
or did we go a 5-year term on that?
I think we went multiple years on that, so I don't think that's up
You
yet.
guys wanna look at it?
There is gonna probably be some push from, some people regarding a low water ramp down at Langler's if things don't change.
Isn't that low?
Oh, I highly doubt unless the mountains get a lot of snow here towards the end on the right side, that there'll be enough water, say by July, to put a boat in there. It was already really bad last year, it got down there. And I know Commissioner Magrum probably was involved at one point, there was some involvement a while back about this, and I know that, like the Mosers, I heard from people with the Voices of Hawaii wanting to put some effort into it. So that people aren't leaving North Dakota and going to Pollock and putting boats in, so there is gonna be some.
There's two problems with the low water crossing at Langler's. One is you have to go further down the shoreline around the bend
Yep.
from the dock, which it's pretty sandy and pretty rugged. I mean, if you get traffic there repeatedly, it'll probably create a little passageway, but the problem with that is the actual channel where the water will maintain elevation is quite a ways in. And there's not really a great way to do it, like they've either done like concrete bullards or things like that, so cause otherwise it's sand. You're not gonna be able to just drive on the sand in and out. So to make some kind of pathway in there, well, then the other problem with that is there is funds with the game and fish and things like that too, but if, honestly, in March, we're already 6 months behind.
That's.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen.
That's the problem.
Yeah, it won't
So,
happen this year anymore.
everybody always wants to cross that March, April, May, it's too late, they've already allocated time and resources, so then basically the other option is you find local funds, well, who's gonna participate and build it and pay for it, and then that's usually where you
Well,
run.
there was a change with the core person that oversees that area too last year, that was part of, cause I had been jumped by a couple people and I went to like KJ Moser and we talked a little bit. And he was gonna contact them, but he got busy and he knew that, he didn't know he knew who the new guy was, but he kinda wanted him to get his feet wet before he dumped this on him, so. That problem though is going to probably come up to us throughout the rest of this year to look at something, cause once we have an agreement, whether we use it at the time or not, once you have that agreement with the Corps and the state, if you run into this problem again, you can figure something else that you.
But the big issue generally is who pays for it.
Yeah.
And there are entities that do pay for stuff like
Yeah.
that, like the Game and Fish. But if you're not already on their list and you're not
Right.
having them allocate stuff to you,
Yeah.
like they'll supply some materials, but you'll still have to supply the label, then who does it, whatever.
Yeah,
And that's where it always hit the snag. It's not that it can't be done,
yeah,
it's that if you don't get the Game and Fish to do it, who's gonna do it?
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, so that's where, and then if you do find somebody to do it, are they volunteering? Are you paying them? And then who pays for it? And so that's it, cause when we were told all that before, usually like all these Garrison diversion people and everybody up that has been familiar with this, they start applying already in September, October if the projections are bad, so that they're first on the list of the
They're
spring.
first. They know.
We might get a low water crossing from Game and Fish, they'll build it in September. Well, you can still use it for the fall probably, but
Yeah,
you're gonna waste the whole summer, so.
and maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we'll get a lot of rain in the spring.
Maybe we'll
Well,
get
some of
some.
these low water crossings might already exist and the list isn't that long, I'm not saying it can't happen,
Yeah.
that's what happened like 2-3 years ago, and then it's always like, well, forget that. And again, the problem at Langler's is, you don't have to just go 20 feet offshore, you
Yeah.
gotta go in
Yeah.
like, it's like 120 feet or something, and so it's a significant low water.
I think that was the problem last time, yeah. that
It's a
was-
big issue, just because it's not easy, you're not just extending something 20 feet, so.
That's a nice bagel, I
Yeah.
must say. Any more input on that?
I guess I would make a motion to, enter into an annual agreement again for Langler's Bay,
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Magrum. Is there a second? By Miller?
assuming that there's no major changes, it hasn't changed in years. but-
So you want an amendment to that?
No, I don't think we wanna change it at all, as long as they haven't changed it, I guess, I would leave that to the chairman's discretion.
That's good, okay. I will have, Magrum made a motion, to accept the annual management program with Langler's Bay, as long as there's no changes within the contract itself.
My opinion of that is if you go through or you find out that there's any major changes, you don't wanna sign it, you just go ahead, right, but I mean, I'm just saying, if you would just say you don't wanna sign it because of something, I'm not gonna fight you.
Okay.
It doesn't look to me like anything's changed from what I can tell, if it's this short, nothing's changed.
All good, okay. All in favor of the annual management program fee with Langler's Bay?
Alright,
Uh,
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 2 is 6 county meeting, March 10th of 2026, at 10 a.m. at the Vets Club in Steel. Does anybody have anything to add to that
She wants an
for their
RSVP.
agenda? Pardon?
She wants an RSVP.
Okay.
Maybe for me.
I should show it.
Yeah,
I think I will too.
Okay,
That was no.
maybe, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
Meg?
Put me down as a yes.
Okay.
Can always say no later.
You could almost say no.
Well,
You can put me down too, Mark.
Is there anything you guys wanna add to that meeting for on the agenda?
why,
I'd like to bring it to their attention on permits,
Okay,
on major projects for, I think just to help everybody that's gonna attend that meeting.
permits on major projects.
Yeah,
Okay.
like what we face, just to educate the general
We
public.
did talk about that at Carrington, cause
Yeah.
Wells County was all, we're not getting anything and we can't generate revenue, huh?
that was down here also.
Yeah.
It was down in the
talking about
basement
it here.
Or was it here too?
And I had people approach me up at the lodge on a project way up north by, is it Portal? On a wind turbine project that was coming about, on a battery storage facility. And they were just going with the basic fee and not really educated on it, and they wanted to know about it. Anything else?
I think Wells County should just have a permit application of 1.5%, and then they'll get all the business, because everybody
Yeah.
else is gonna be at 3, so they'll come back.
Yeah, right.
They'll get all the wind turbines, battery projects they
I
want.
think if we keep letting all the counties in on this, we need to ask for a 0.10%
Consulting
finder's
fee, are we doing a consulting fee?
Consulting fee.
Counties are-
We gotta look out for our own here.
Well, it does say something that the Association of Counties doesn't seem to be educating anybody on it, but that's because I think they're not really for what we're doing either, so.
Is Bruce retired?
He's pretty young, I wouldn't assume
I
so.
heard he was pulling.
I
Probably getting a
also
lobbyist job.
Go ahead.
added to the agenda for that meeting about funding privately owned parks.
Oh, you brought this to my attention.
How that goes over in other counties, so.
We supposedly have 2 parks in this county that are privately owned that we're funding.
Right.
Do you know anything about it, anybody? Open for discussion.
Well, we just pay so much, the county contributes, right?
Brad,
Two municipal.
Braddock is,
it's not owned by the city, it's owned by a private individual,
Oh,
Kintyre.
right.
So
Kintyre's,
I don't know.
Never brought that to my attention. I didn't know nothing about it.
Kintyre's not an incorporated city, so.
Who is it?
Kintyre, it's not an incorporated city.
Oh,
They don't have mill levies or anything.
yeah, but that was, I mean, the assumption of that was, isn't that under
It's
Campbell
it's under-
Township?
It's under the township.
Right, but does the township have authority over the park then, or?
They can levy some in the park, but they don't, they just levy so much in the general for it. They pay the electricity for the street lights.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I didn't know nothing about it.
That's gonna be a thing in the future too, you're gonna see private stuff like that. We had a donated park in the city of Lynn, a beautiful, fantastic job this private donor did in memory of.
So,
And, the park board is gonna take over that park as far as the maintenance of it, like the mowing and all that.
Yep.
And I mean, it rivals our city park, to be honest with you, it's beautiful. You are gonna see, in memory of parks and that kind of stuff popping up more and more, just because that's something that there's not enough funds, because these big park features are,
expensive.
yeah, I think the city,
Well, who owns
Park.
Braddock Park?
I think it was $150,000 when they put down the park.
I had Joe look it up. Who's the mayor of there?
Who's the mayor, Brad?
Theo Naden?
There's no, it's not him, it's a relative. Tammy Dayton, there you go.
Who?
Tammy Dayton.
But the Braddock levies for the park, though.
Well, that's what I'm confused about here, cause this has been going on for
For years.
20 some odd years, and it's been, isn't it called the Braddock City Park? Like, that's where
But shouldn't the city own it though?
Well, what is the agreement though? Is it a deal where they own the land and there's some kind of agreement? Like, that's what I'm telling you when you talk about old time contracts, like, does the Braddock City lease them properties for $1 to have their city park versus own it? Like, I don't know, like, I mean, you probably should maybe do a little more digging than that.
Changed hands, what, a couple of years ago, didn't Josh? I think, was it you that looked it up or Joe?
The Braddock one?
I think
Do
Joe
they have a
looked it up.
board?
Well, yeah, they have, well, Braddock has an organized city and they called it the city
Yeah,
park, so I mean,
Like the
does.
park, yeah.
We have a park board, they raise their own, I mean, they get mill levy money, but they also get donations and they
well,
get.
and Braddock, I
grants.
think, has a mill levy for their park, even though it's probably pretty low. I mean, that's one of them situations where they, like, there might be some lease agreement on owned property, but we should check into that probably,
Right.
but. Cause I mean, even with Kintyre, like, cause they have interminglings with the county and the township, cause they're not an organized city, but that's where,
There's a park in Kintyre.
oh yeah, it's the only thing left in Kintyre practically,
Yeah.
that and the church. But I mean, so that's where, I mean, I think saying they're privately owned might maybe be a little bit too soon, because there's probably some lease or something, 'cause otherwise, I mean, them parks have always been known to be public though. Like, I mean, I grew up, the Magrum family, we used the Kintyre Park all the time, that was like our get together in the summer, like, we were never kicked off, or there's no signs that say private property, so I would be curious as to like what the scenario is, other than the plot of land might specifically be owned by somebody. I mean, there could be some kind of weird perpetual lease filed with the courthouse or something, cause it seems odd that you'd have private property with park equipment on there that everybody gets to use.
Yeah.
Like, cause as a private person, you're taking on huge liability then, like, I would say that, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm
No,
just
it
saying
was
that.
brought to my attention.
Right,
so.
and you're right in basis that, like, yes, that land is deeded to the Nadens, and if the park ever goes away, the Nadens own that
Yeah,
property.
right.
But there's probably some lease with the city or so, I'd have to say there's gotta, if there isn't, then there probably should be.
Right,
But anyway, I mean, it's good, I think it's great to look into that, but I'd just say that,
You did talk to Joe?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a deed anywhere?
well, for Tammy Dayton, it was.
I'd just be curious if there's some kind of amendment to that or something, or addendum that says that the city can use it or something. Okay, well, that's good to
Okay.
know,
Yeah,
Good to know.
absolutely. Okay,
Anything else you wanna add to the agenda, guys?
no.
No? All good. Item 3, building permit for Wade Huber for building a 24 by 33 addition onto his residence and construct a 63 by 48 garage on the south half of the northeast quarter, the southeast quarter, the northwest quarter, and the north half of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of section 32, township 13376. Well, that's already constructed, is it not?
Yeah, it's already done. Our tax director, Christina, was gonna go assess it, but noticed there was no building permit, so he got one, and he paid double the fee, so.
All good?
All
Yeah.
good. It was recommended pass by the committee,
Okay,
so we're good.
okay. Is there a motion to it?
I'll make-
Motion, Jim Vanderhorst,
I'll second it.
second by Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 4, building permit for Leroy Slater for moving in a 16 by 80 trailer house on lot 7 Coyote Hill, section 23, township 132, excuse me, range 79. Where's Coyote Hill?
Up on top of Beaver Bay there.
Oh, okay.
So, he's got an old trailer house there now. He's replacing it with a longer one, but setbacks will still be good. So,
We recommended a pass on it. so.
All good?
yeah.
Okay.
Motion to approve building permit for Leroy Slater.
Second.
By Mr. Gardner, second by Magrum. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5, building permit for Fairview Farm Inc. to erect a grain bin on section 8, township 130, range 75. That's the Newsman place.
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna put a bigger grain bin, take a couple of these smaller ones off. He's 400 feet from the highway, so there's no issues
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion. to-
Motion by Gardner, second.
Second.
Vanderhorst.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, building permit for Zach and Whitney Sarah to move in a modular home on 330 feet by 660 feet tract in southeast quarter of section 33 range, township 133 range 76. That's Zach. He called the other day about it.
Yeah, they just deeded the land, so that's good, and setbacks will be over 160 feet from the road and over 250 from the intersection, putting around right here, so it's good. Separate.
Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make it.
Not a motion, is there? Yeah, is there? Miller, second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Alright,
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7, building permit for Craig Miller to remodel one stall garage into living space and mudroom on the northeast quarter, west right-of-way, section 30, township 134, range 76. Make sure he's in compliance.
Yeah, I don't look at these ones, so you guys can deny it if you want.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Baker makes the motion, second, Vanderwerf. All in favor?
alright,
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 8, plat of tract 1, southwest quarter of the northeast quarter, and the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of section 22, township 134, range 78, 5th prime meridian, and plat of tract 2, south half of the northeast quarter of section 22, township 134, range 78, 5th prime meridian.
Yeah, he's just plotting off 2 tracks here, he's gonna sell off some, keep the yard for himself or something like that, but everything grew out fine. Lots are a lot bigger than 1 acre, so meets all the requirements. Where's that? There's 1804.
On 1804.
Well, it's off of there a couple miles, but
All right,
on 69.
that was old Hauser, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Who?
Old Hauser.
Which old welder?
Sean,
John? Oh, okay.
Sean.
Sean.
Johnny what?
Sean.
Oh,
Sean.
Sean?
Sean,
I said John. Sean.
Thank you. There you go.
I don't know Sean.
Turn that here, you
Indeed. Is there a motion for item 8?
I'll make a motion.
Good. Is there a second?
Second.
By Miller? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That's funny.
Just
It's hard to get the old kid.
I got hearing aids too, I just hate I hate them, so I don't wear
You have?
them. I have them.
Do you? Okay, the next item, guys. We got the miscellaneous all out of the way, correct?
Yep.
Okay, we can go back to Russ, if you wanna step up and speak. Road Soup County Road Department. John with you.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, John Martin is here. Should we just bring him up so
I
we
would,
can
yeah.
get moving?
Yeah.
He wants to discuss a few projects here.
Morning, John.
Morning.
alright,
I guess I'm just here basically for that Braddock grade raise.
Okay,
I submitted some paperwork to Marlis.
okay.
One of those documents, it's an environmental document, that you have to sign, kind of agreeing to, there's 2 options in that document. There's the no build option, or there's this complete the grade raise option. So we need you to fill that out, how you wanna proceed on the project. And then also I submitted 5 certification letters that I need you to sign off on too. Those are federal aid letters that you have to sign off for all federal aid projects.
that's the ones I gave you yesterday, you said wait till today,
Okay,
and here's what he's talking about.
okay. You guys wanna look at these, or is it okay to sign? Okay?
I'm fine with it.
Your name's going on if you're content.
Yeah. With your approval. Anything else, John?
And then eventually, I do need a motion to approve the plans and the specs for the project and authorize, going to bids. The bid date right now, the DOT has is May 8th of this year. So we're intending to get the project completed this summer, hopefully.
Is the water level down as of now?
I don't think it's down much if it is.
So we hope and pray we don't get a lot of moisture for that project. For that certain deal.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're looking for a motion?
Yep, just to approve the final plans and specifications and authorize going to bids.
Is there a motion for the final plan and the bid that was submitted by John Martin of World Engineering?
I can do that.
Jim Vanderwerf makes a motion. Is there a second? Miller seconded. All in favor?
Well, wait, just
For discussion, go ahead, Nate.
this is considered the permanent grade raise, right?
This is
Not,
the
not an
permanent.
emergency grade raise, just for understanding. So the assumption is wider and taller.
Yep.
By
It's
a
got-
foot, right?
Well, it's gonna be 4 feet higher than the current road elevation is now.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate, so water's gonna naturally overflow before this road would go underwater.
And that's the replacement of the culverts and the, this
Yeah,
is
it's
the
a brand new
permanent grade
culvert.
raise, yeah.
Yep, riprap on the inslopes,
Okay.
And we've got the okay with landowners for this clay. Everything's in place.
That's not our job.
No,
it would all get bid through the project, so the contractor would have to locate, the
That's all
clay
it is.
source. Yep.
Okay.
and that was all in the previous proposals you gave to us when we were talking about the cost sharing and all that.
Yep, it's
Grant
all been
approvals.
included, yep.
Okay.
Okay, all good. Any other discussion? If not, I have nothing more to say on it. I hope we can get it done this year. And do we, yeah, that's irrelevant though.
It's gonna be a big inconvenience if they don't.
A big inconvenience. So we got a motion and a second. Let's do a roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay, Gardner.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Edwards. Aye. Magrum.
Aye.
Materi, aye, motion carried. Okay. Anything else you guys need to say or wanna bring forth?
Yeah, I do. I got one thing here. Well, John is here. There's been some discussion on 93rd out there by Larry Umber going back to Dave Trudowski's.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to have John kind of fill you guys in. I talked to him a few different times about having it surveyed and stuff. Maybe he can just bring you up to date, so to speak, on what is going on there, or what has taken place in the past, I guess.
So I guess I don't know the whole backstory on this thing, but apparently, this thing has been surveyed by other surveyors in the past. I think there are 3 corners on the west end of the mile. And this went to the Supreme Court for North Dakota, and they determined that Holly Beck's corner is what should be the legal corner. So that's the corner that we would have to survey and stake, if you want the section line staked. And I don't know if the existing road is close to this or not. We would have to send surveyors down there to, mark it, I guess.
Well, that don't look straight.
No, that's not the right one. It's a mile to this right there,
You're talking
Josh.
about this section?
No, right there, the light colored one, right to the right,
To the right.
to the right some more. To the right. No, to the left now,
To the west?
right
You're looking
there,
at that
right
point
there,
right in
yeah.
the center of that pivot, right?
Yes. So if you blow that, can you blow that up a little bit, Josh, that piece right there, that mile?
Zoom in or zoom out?
What's that?
Zoom in?
Yes,
You're talking about this section here?
right.
Yep.
If you keep zooming in, you can actually see the road versus the line there. Well, no, you can't.
Yeah,
I
this
guess.
one's not as clear as like Google Earth.
There you go.
You can see that's.
It's straight if you tilt your head to the left.
While they're on the GIS, Josh's deal, at one point, you can actually see the line versus the road, is what I was
Yeah.
getting at.
Yeah.
And those lines too aren't actually surveyed, you know, they're more approximate. For reference, those aren't surveyed lines. Sometimes they're close, but you legally can't use those lines
Okay,
to say that's where the road should be, so.
So John, what you'd be suggesting is going out and staking a line holding the Holly Beck's corner. And then as far as just getting a visual aid of where it's gonna land and then going from there, is that your recommendation or what?
Yeah, kinda talking with Russ, that's probably the option to do. Kinda go down there and put a couple marks in for Russ
Okay,
and see if you guys wanna proceed. And then we could stake the whole thing, whenever wants to reconstruct it, we could do offsets, whatever you need.
cause I mean, so the question that, or, I mean, what I'm trying to get at is what you're trying to establish is the true section line that the law is saying to honor.
Yep.
Right.
And from there, you can build out your right of way and what utilities are in the way and like.
Yep.
So your suggestion is that's the first step before really talking about anything else, is trying to figure out.
Is there any pushback out there?
Well, I haven't really, the only person I've been in contact with is Dave.
Dave,
And-
okay.
And I think this is probably where you have to start, because if,
Yeah,
I can't imagine that road is that far off of the actual section line, but if it is,
Can be.
well, you gotta do it right.
Right.
I mean, the biggest question since, I mean, I've been on here the longest as far as this has come up before, the roadblock always ends up landing with the utilities. That's always kind of it, so it would be good to know where that actual section line is, to know if those utilities actually impacted, or if that was always just an assumption. Because it's always, well, you can't, that's too close, well, has anybody actually gone out and physically measured it, and known exactly where the section line was to measure it? And then from there, you could dictate maybe some kind of borrow area that's not around the utilities, instead of just assuming it. I know, I did talk to Larry Umber years ago, I don't know if he's changed his opinion, but his opinion at the time was that he had no issue, but he had already like moved and rebuilt the fences once before for a similar scenario, and he was not gonna do it again, so he's basically saying you could do it, but you're gonna be fixing the fences and doing it, which I didn't think was out of line. I don't know if Larry's opinion is the same, you know, I haven't talked to him about it, but it was really no objection, other than that he's not gonna go and tear the fences down for us and put them back up and all that, so that would be a part of the process, would be, you know, some repairs and probably some right-of-way purchase, or, you know, images of some sort, so that would probably come into play. And then I know the one probably biggest issue is, I think there's an irrigation line right on, like right where Larry's Road kinda ends. That was always a sticking point, whether or not that's fact or not, but that always came up, that's, I believe, like a 6-inch or bigger, like it's a big irrigation line that would have to get somehow built over the top of, or lined, or moved, I don't know.
But the county has technically the right to tear fences down, correct, from what I experienced?
Right, but I think it's just like anything else, like there's still a, like if he's outside of the right of way and you need to borrow dirt, or if you're trying to do anything, you're gonna have to deal with Larry. And his comment was, he's not gonna go over and above to help us out, you're gonna take care of that, which I didn't think was unfair, but,
No.
and I'm speaking from, this is maybe 5-6 years ago, so Larry might wanna punch me in the face for even mentioning it, he might be totally, I don't know, Larry's always been good, but I have no idea what his current opinion is, only what it was years ago, cause it was probably my first or second year commissioner, and then I was gonna spearhead this project, and then it always just seemed to run in opposition with utilities and everything else, so.
so after talking with Dave Trudowski on kind of what he's looking to get out of the deal, basically, he's pretty much the guy that it's gonna serve as Dave's to his house, you know, and then there's a few other people that bring, you know, farm back there and stuff, I guess, to bring stuff out, but Dave is looking, and you can correct me wrong, if I'm wrong, Dave, but he's looking at about 1 to 2 foot elevation on the current road. From what I've seen there, and there, you're all right, there's an irrigation line that someplace goes across and underneath and stuff, so we'd have to make that all work. I really think it's possible to achieve what Dave's after with the current, road that's really there, by just bringing the ditches and stuff in, creating a little more of a ditch, bringing the road itself up. And he's just looking to get some elevation, because it blocks every time it blows with snow and stuff, so. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, to make this an actual, we're gonna make it as close as we can to a road, but it's probably not gonna meet the requirements of a federal aid road or something, I guess is what I'm saying, so. You know, we split the difference basically to make this, hopefully, have Dave a road, I guess, is the.
We don't have no ditch, grade, pitch, or nothing.
Well, we
Yeah,
do
we have to
we
comply
do
with
the best we can, but the width and stuff is not gonna be adequate for what you're gonna see
No,
in most other places, just because of the area you have to work with. And the utilities, like Aaron has talked about, are gonna be in the way at some point as well. So,
Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say that the presumption of needing a lot of material and borrowing areas and even messing with like Larry's fences was always on the presumption that we were gonna bring it up to what you'd consider like certified road. So
Right.
if we're not gonna go that route, it's a lot more plausible idea. It's just, the only other question I have is there was always an issue brought up of like the soil material in the ditches too, like if it's really light. That was always a difficulty, you know, trying to pile sand is so it would just take some consideration to make sure that, you know, we're gonna do, cause we don't wanna go out there and build a road and you tell Dave, cool, there's your road, and then in 2 years it's crap, like, you know, I mean, we wanna make sure we're doing it the right way too. I'm fine with like not building a full scale
Road.
4-to-1 in slopes and all this stuff
Right.
too, to serve, you know, a situation that's probably needed. It's just the main thing is to make sure that, you know, the utilities and the landowners and everybody's on the same page too, but I mean, I would like to think,
well, I did indicate to Dave that it's gonna get worse before it gets better with the material. You're gonna go through a year or two to get everything to set up properly and stuff like that, just like he's saying. We're aware of that, and I believe Dave is too. Is that correct? That it's gonna be,
Well, like I said, I just want a normal road, just so I don't fill it, so like I said, I'll be 62 here, but I'm gonna get older, but I don't have to worry about getting in and out of there, I mean, I get it, snow blocks here and there, but just so it's elevated, I don't know what kind of a dent you're gonna get out of it, but what's right's right, but whatever you guys think, I guess, I'm not, anything's better than what I got now, and like I said, when they did it 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I mean, it's been fine, but now that's just a snow deal, it's mostly the snow and whatever you guys can do, I guess, we'll try and see what happens, but I know once I get to Larry Emmons' yard and I drive to the highway, I don't have a problem from there on out, but it'd be nice if that was all the way like that, at least on your guys' road.
But that's a high grade road going from Humber out. Is it not?
that's a full.
The road, that's a full
I mean,
road.
93rd is built up for this reason.
yeah.
John, do you have kind of an estimate of what just a staking job would cost, at least just so we know?
So we kinda I gave Russ a rough estimate to do like 2 days. We could stake every 100 feet along the road and then do 100-foot offsets. And that was $31.20, I believe. $3,120.
Okay, and then that would give you at least an idea where the section line is and then a 100-foot offset from it, so you'd have an idea.
Yeah, on both sides actually too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a start.
You can't do anything unless you at least know where it lands, cause that's always been another sticking point, is once you get into it, everybody's like, hey, wasn't there a big fight about that? We better not mess with it. So, I agree, like, I would say moving forward with this, to at least know where the official line is gonna land, and then.
Yeah, and that's kind of funny how that worked when Larry surveyed at that time, and then Greg didn't like it, and he surveyed it, then Larry moved his fence, I watched that fence 3 times, and then finally they surveyed it the 3rd time, and then that's where it's at, so where really is the road at?
Yeah.
That's all I wanna know, where is it?
Well, and the idea behind this with hiring a surveyor to stake it now is the Supreme Court made a decision where it's supposed to be, so that kinda ignores the fact that other surveyors argued with it. You're gonna follow what the Supreme Court ordered is the law.
Exactly, yep.
That's the law.
So then that line will be the line, so.
So where it is now is where it's supposed to be? The Supreme Court said this is where it's at, that's where it's at now?
Yeah, so they're gonna stake what the Supreme Court decided,
What they ruled.
so there should not be an argument of where that line is.
That'll be
That's
the
been
line.
handled, so.
Can't be contested, because the Supreme Court rules.
So
Yeah,
I would,
cause I seen it surveyed 3 times, I drove by Larry's moving the fence again, then he moved it back, then he's moved it again.
Hopefully Larry does that.
well, and that's why I'm telling you, I think Larry was kind of objective to moving the fence again, he's done it enough times, so that's where I had no argument with
Should be
Larry
easy,
said that.
should be really good.
Yeah, I'm sure you can go help him, I'd be glad to do it, I'm sure. I'll make the motion to, I don't know if we need a motion, can we just give Russ approval to do it? I mean, you got money in your budget, I'm fine with that, let's at least move forward that way and see
Yeah.
where it lands.
I'm good with it too. Everybody else is good? Yeah. Okay. Anything else, guys? Russ, go ahead.
As long as we got him here for one last thing, the road for the potato farm out here, do we wanna discuss any of that? John submitted some estimates on what, just a rough estimate, this is nothing, I mean, these can be adjusted both ways. Is there any questions you guys would like to talk about, or you just wanna review these? I can give them to you
I
now
was gonna
here.
say, I don't think I have that, so,
Oh, yeah,
if I do, I don't know.
Looks good.
Oh, I did there.
Did you have one?
No, I do.
Go ahead, Russ.
And I believe those are estimates for a complete rebuild, basically, is what John did there, just,
That 3.5 mile or 3.25 mile, right?
Yep. Yep, I did, two estimates. One is for the east side of the federal aid route, and then one is for the west side of the federal aid route. On the east side, that road is much worse, so I kinda increased the dirt quantity. It's gonna take a little more work there. But on the west side, it's a little better road, so.
the airport road is the
Right.
federal aid.
But on the east side of that federal aid road, the first mile is good, is it not? And then that last quarter mile is tough.
No, it's not, it needs to
Is
be.
it tough?
The whole, yeah.
Once you get past Seventh going to the east, that's rugged country.
It's narrow.
Mhm.
Good.
The west isn't too bad though. I mean,
Compared to the east, yeah.
well, the
It's not
complaint
great.
from the landowner was the east, the last
Yeah.
mile and a quarter is what he said.
Right.
At least at a minimum says, he said it has to be gravel. You know, he said it's just, it's.
Right.
It's
sloppy.
really that short little stretch.
Right.
So this 2.4 miles on the west side of Seventh, that would go to, like, what, is it Fifth there, is that next intersection, or is it Fourth? I mean, I know by miles, there's, what, is it Fifth?
So we go all the way, not all the way over to Boston, so.
No,
No,
just to
just to their
just to the
turn going
potato.
in.
Right,
Right.
cause I think it's Third is the one that would go up to like Jerome and Rita's that's underwater, and stuff,
Right,
right?
right.
That's
Yeah,
Third, okay,
yeah.
that's where.
Well, you put a plan together, then you can try to apply for some aid on it or something.
I don't know if this will really qualify for anything.
Would we
but
qualify for aid on that? Probably not.
This is gonna be an out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
This is just a
Out of
county
pocket,
road,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, so that just.
$1.1.
Maybe you don't have to do a total rebuild though.
What do you see when you look at it, Russ? I drove it. I don't think that road has to be totally rebuilt, that mile going east, other than that quarter mile, where that needs work.
Well, the mile,
Bring it.
the mile to the east is definitely too narrow to start with, so you're gonna have to widen that out, and then you're gonna have to go down, you're gonna be down all the way down the ditch to make that all work and bring that back, bring it back up and get it widened out and stuff. I wouldn't say it's a total rebuild, but it's gonna involve quite a bit of work there to make that, and then there's gonna be some culverts and stuff, I think, that have to be placed as well, that ain't there right now, right, or are they?
I don't know, it was covered in, I couldn't really tell, but I did kind of figure out where they should be probably. So I threw that in the estimate too.
Would you consider this a high estimate, like this would be the worst of it?
It should be the high, but it's,
Never know till you get.
we're not gonna save $1 million off of it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying though, this is.
that wasn't, there was no option B then, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it shouldn't get worse than this unless you
I mean,
uncover it.
in
Right.
fairness to the estimate, if you look at it, it looks to me like 250,000 of that is basically cement stabilization too, though. So you're not just getting a road built, you'd be getting a concrete stabilized road too, so.
So there is the option to get rid of that.
Well, and that's where I'm saying that would be probably a 20 to 25% decrease.
Well, stabilization and stand up with that sand,
Oh, yeah,
because that's all sand.
it'll help, yep.
Well, it would seem like a shame to go through that far though, and then omit
I
that.
hope so, cause
I hope, because we're doing it on cat.
yeah, that's already,
Yeah,
Well, the state thinks it'll work, right? Because I mean,
Yes, it is.
so.
and I mean, we can talk about this later and stuff too, if there was any questions while John was here. I know it's kind of short notice with everything,
Well, their plan is to be operational for this fall's harvest.
right, so,
The Spud Boys.
I mean, the only thing I would recommend is if it's gonna be under heavy construction over the next handful of months, I think it would be almost foolish to build it now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. it's-
You'd almost be better off to have it built and then fix the road. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
gonna try and construct a road
Yeah.
while they're trying to construct a project, and then you have overlap, and then let's face it, there's gonna be heavy weight of some form coming in on there. And now would be a time to maybe just tune the road up the best we can with blades, maybe haul a little bit of gravel, try and get it in decent shape, let them build their project, and then build the road.
And the thing is, they have been running this road, they have like 8 pivots out there, so they haul straight to Jamestown, they use this road. They haven't had an issue, they haven't had any accidents, knock on wood, they haven't, you know what I mean, so they can get by probably till it's built, and if it becomes a 27 spring project or whatever.
Well, I'm just saying, it would seem maybe kind of foolish to wanna go and totally rebuild this road and do all this work and effort while they're also gonna be heavily using it to construct the project.
Yeah.
It seems like time frame wise, it would be wiser to wait until this fall/spring if you were gonna do it.
Well, the east side of the road would be pretty easy to do because they have a way around that.
That's true, but
But going to the west, you're gonna be tied up.
right, but I mean, if they have loads coming from the south, let's say for material, which, I mean, we are North Dakota, there's a fair assumption it's gonna come from the south, they're not gonna wanna go all the way up or go there, you're gonna wanna probably take 84th, cause that's the shortest spot, so that's my only just consideration is like, if you're gonna have heavy traffic with everything going on to build this site, you know, maybe getting in too big of a hurry to build it would, I mean, is the assumption that we're gonna build this and this is just gonna be material supplied?
right,
And then
that's what
probably
I'm getting
the
out of it.
concrete stabilization would get probably hired out, that part is, cause it looks to me like you have cement stabilization and then you also have the Portland cement, so the stabilization's probably like labor and contractor.
No, those go
That's
together.
part of the-
Yep.
there's cement stabilization, that's what they use for the product.
No, but I'm saying there's cement stabilization like subgrade, then there's Portland cement, there's two.
Yep, those go hand in hand. That's just the Portland cement that they spread on the road
Okay.
prior to going through and blending it.
So cement stabilized subgrade is not like a labor, like that's us doing it.
Nope, this is
Okay.
all contractor prices. This is the county doing nothing.
Okay,
We're done.
that's what I'm getting at, like, cause when I see that, I see like a material bid, and then I also see kind of like the work to do the material, so that's where I'm like, looking at it as going, cause I know the Portland cement is what they use for the stabilization, but then you also have cement stabilized subgrades, my assumption was that was the work to be done, the labor to do it, you know, whatever, so.
And if it's in agreement that this can be possibly pushed off for another year or to another spring,
Yeah,
that would help our schedule as far as the county with the wind towers, a few other projects, the Cattail Bay. That would help our schedule a lot. I mean, not saying I don't wanna do this, but we have a full plate here this spring. you
I
know?
think if, like Commissioner Magrum said, we can tune it up a little bit, that road, and
I think just make it workable, because the other thing is that you're gonna have a massive road project going on while they're trying to do a massive construction project, I mean,
it's not gonna make much
it's
sense.
gonna be awful, I think it'd be terrible,
I'd say tune it up the best you can, and
yeah,
let's
just,
kinda keep this on the radar for
Next
late fall, early spring.
Okay, that works. I mean, that would be
well,
great.
and I mean, there might be a scenario where maybe we can do some of this work, or,
Yes.
you know, maybe we can maybe
Well, we
try
can
and
do a lot
save
of
some by
this,
doing
save a lot
some of
more.
the edge work and stuff, and just hiring a contractor to do the stabilization and other parts, or
Yep,
we can do the culverts at least, try and
Yeah.
utilize some of that. I mean, I think that would be in the best interest of everybody involved with
Everybody.
that, so. But I think it's awesome that you have this, and I think we definitely need to move forward with something.
okay.
Anything else, John?
No, that's all they had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
You bet.
Other than that.
Thanks for coming in, Dave.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, take care.
Basically, we are working on the Linton shop at this point. The concrete has settled in the corners of the shop. It's down approximately 4 to 6 inches in some areas. We're gonna chop that out and actually repack it, put new concrete in there. That's what we're doing right now, as well as some other maintenance projects, something like that.
You guys will get a chance, excuse me, Russ, go out and take a look what they're doing. It's not just the corner that's settled in, you guys have been in that shop, have you not? It's on the north side and the west side. where it's settled down in what, 9 feet? Roughly, right, Russ, right, 6
Yeah.
to 9 feet, that they wanna cut out and pull that cement out and report. And put rebar in and tie to the footer, but the footer's crumbling, I noticed yesterday, on that west side.
It is, we just have to pick a happy medium and go with it, I guess, so that's what we're gonna do.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
one other thing I'd like to really talk to you guys about today, is Al Holm is out right now with a hip replacement. And he has told me that his plans were to retire in May of this year. Since then, there's been some complications with the surgery. His recovery time has been pushed out to double of what it was supposed to be, which leaves us coming into the spring of the year, with a man down. And he's the guy that's gonna be doing the wind tower road as well up there, and that's his area. So he's looking, he hasn't given me an actual thing, but his last thing before he left for surgery was he was looking at January to retire out and be done. What I'd kinda like to ask is, I have a couple guys that are interested in his job. Some guys, there's actually 2 of them that have experience on the blade that would just jump in and go basically. But what it's gonna do, if we were to hire someone earlier to cover his area, it would probably have an overrun as far as what I have budgeted for the salary for the year. I don't know, I don't have any definite numbers, but there's a possibility, depending on when this person would come on, if this person comes on, that there would be a little bit of overrun as far as on my salary for the year. I'm just asking because we really can't afford to have, for one thing, we don't have anybody extra. We have Dave, basically could cover that area, but then the culvert situation, these road projects, that all gets shut down if he goes back to a blade. Is there any option we could possibly look at bringing somebody on early, knowing that Al is going to retire anyway?
is he definitely gonna retire?
That's what he's been telling me. When I came on, he had it down to the minute of the day. Since then, that's kinda changed a little bit, but like I said, he initially was gonna do it in May because his surgery was gonna be earlier, like last fall or something, he was gonna have surgery. Well, that got pushed out and pushed out, well, now he finally had surgery. And he's looking at a double of he was supposed to be out 4 to 6 weeks, and now since then that has doubled. Because of something went wrong in the surgery or something like that, so.
That'll break his finger to get the snow out. Ooh, not good.
And like I said, the area that he's supposed to cover up there is probably gonna be one of the most important areas we have for the year, you know?
High use, huh?
Yeah,
Well, it's my area, so it's highly important.
Highly important.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Strict importance. Cause I don't wanna hear it all summer. Yeah, it's tough when you have a road guy down like that makes it tough.
If we're doing a road haul agreement with this next era, could we take money from that road haul agreement to help pay for that operator that's going to be in that area?
That additional salary, can you? I don't know if you.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily a bill for next year to have to pay in their road haul agreement, I think that's.
No, I'm just
No,
saying,
no,
we're
no,
not
no,
gonna
no,
have
no.
that money.
You just
Well,
take the money
We
and
didn't say
allocate
we're
it.
gonna.
Well, not the road haul, you're talking the permit.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing that you would run into here, correct me if I'm wrong, Marlis, but basically what you end up doing is if you do have an issue where you overrun your budget on, let's say, salaries or something, you amend it at the end of the year, and the funds you use are basically prescribed, by law, you can use certain funds, whatever. When
Well, if I
they're-
would run short, I'll transfer out of the commit funds.
Right, and so, basically what you do is you just amend your budget afterwards, you don't try and backfill it throughout the year.
Okay.
As long as you have the funds to cover it, which we should have, cause it's not gonna be double the budget, but.
No, and we do have, as of now, we have a little bit extra in my budget.
Sure.
I just don't know how much, I guess, to really,
Right.
depending on overtime in the year that we have, it's hard to put a solid number on it, you know?
I think the only thing that I'd like to see, cause we ran into this a little bit with the city, is an agreement with that employee, like a
He's gonna retire.
something written that he signed that he will retire at this point, because I'd hate to hire a guy and then he comes back and he sits on here for another year and then we're really gonna be in trouble. We hire a guy. Just a retirement date, something that he agrees to, that we have that, you know what I'm saying? Because that does happen sometimes. People decide they don't wanna retire and then we hired a guy and here we sit now with an extra guy and now we're paying a whole salary out of the, I don't wanna be stuck. The permit fund is not it's for this other stuff that we need worse than, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
the
yeah.
gravel and the mining some gravel, in my opinion, and I just think we need some kind of an agreement with that employee that they have a retirement date and something signed, so we don't wind up where they come back and say, yeah, you know what, I feel great, I wanna stay another 3 years, and we're like, oh crap, now what? We got an employee hired, now we're taking from that permit fund, or we're raising taxes to pay an extra guy. Not that we can't use the extra guy, I'm just saying, I don't wanna be stuck in that situation, is my only thing.
That's their problem.
Was it?
That would be the only thing I'd ask, is something in writing that with a retirement date, but I think.
Hello, Derek. Yes, sir, Dan Materi. Yeah, just give us a minute if you can. Okay. Okay, just hang on a minute.
We can continue later, you
Can we
guys.
continue later, Russ?
Yeah.
Okay, we got Derek Broughton on the phone here. Okay, hang on a
I
minute.
mean, we should be done by 11 at least, if not sooner, so yeah.
Yep, you get about it by 11 o'clock, Russ.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I've got an executive, deal with open executive session here. The next thing is on an agenda here, guys.
We're gonna.
Executive session with Derek Broughton for attorney consultation to discuss legal update on Summit Solutions pipeline appeal to North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19, 1 and 44-04-19.2. I've got some guidelines here from the state's attorney, Derek, that I'll just read before we go into executive session. The next item on the agenda is regarding the Summit Solutions pipeline appeal. This item may be discussed in an executive session. The legal authority for closing this portion of the meeting is North Dakota Century Code, as we just discussed, 44-04-19, 1, parenthesis 2, and 44-04-19.2, parenthesis 1, which authorize a governing body to meet an executive session for attorney consultation regarding pending or reasonably foreseeable litigation. The purpose of this executive session is to discuss attorney consultation regarding pending litigation, specifically the Summit Solutions pipeline appeal. After the executive session, we will convene in an open meeting. At this time, we will need a motion to discuss this topic in executive session rather than in an open meeting. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Magner makes a motion. Is there a second?
That's a second.
Mr. Miller makes a second. Any discussion on the motion? No discussion on the motion. Roll call vote to go into executive session. Gardner?
Aye.
Miller?
Alright,
Matters?
Aye.
Magrum?
Aye.
Materi? Aye. Motion's approved to go into executive session.